Unpredictable. In a world filled with billions of people with tons of opportunities, life manages to be completely unpredictable. My whole life, I grew up playing softball for the love of the sport as much as the friends and relationships I created along the way. When I was younger, I thought I had my life figured out and planned for myself. I would go on to play Division I softball in college, and my dream job at the time was to model for Sports Illustrated magazine. As time went on with extremely hard work, I reached my sophomore year of high school and I committed to play Division I softball at the University of Hartford in Connecticut. To be honest with you, I had never even heard of Hartford prior to the coach recruiting me and constantly being on my radar. It seemed the most fitting for me when I was offered a full ride and would have no debt out of college. I also value kind people and relationships. I feel this world is filled with so many dark people, and I always try to spread positivity and kindness. Knowing softball was D1 at Hartford, I knew the majority of my days would be centered around my teammates and coaches, so I made sure I needed to have a strong relationship with them prior to officially committing. I would say I had a weird gut feeling in the pit of my stomach that I was not in the right place when I first got to college freshman year, but I couldn't tell you why. It became clearly evident to me when I found myself crying most days alone in my dorm after a long, hard day of softball. I have played on many different softball teams and school teams, and never have I ever had a bad experience with the people around me. That was until I went to Hartford. You hear the word bully thrown around more than it should be, because it is a very strong word, but unfortunately, I was a victim of bullying by my own teammates and coaches. I was targeted out for reasons I couldn't even explain, which hurt me mentally. For always being kind to others, something like this really takes a toll on you because you constantly wonder if it is you. But in reality, it's other people's insecurities being projected onto you, which is hard to accept and something that nobody should ever have to go through. Although I had some rough experiences, I am a strong individual and pushed myself through to another year to see if things would change. I have always had friends from home tell me stories about bad coaching or teammate experiences that drove them away from their favorite sport, but I never really wanted to believe that a person or persons could ruin something you feel so strongly for. But when my second year of college hit, I was that friend saying how I lost the love of the sport because of my team. It is sad when you come to realize you don't feel the same towards a favorite sport anymore, but also it could be such a relief. I could not fake my happiness anymore and needed to follow my heart, which was telling me to get out of Hartford. Coronavirus happened and completely changed my life around. We got sent home from school, and a weight was lifted off my shoulder because of the fact I wouldn't have to be surrounded by those people for a while. When I got home, everything from school hit me like a brick, considering we were on lockdown for a while and I was constantly in my own thoughts. I became anxious and depressed and knew I had to make a change for the better of myself. I stayed home the second semester of my sophomore year to figure things out. I spent a lot of time meditating, journaling, praying, watching movies, and doing self-care to keep myself busy and clear my headspace. Then the month of February rolled around. It was my birthday month and also when pretty much everything began to fall into place. The rules of COVID lockdown were slowing down, so I was able to go out and socialize with friends again. I began spending time with people I wanted to surround myself with and genuinely felt and saw my smile and happiness come back. It put a ton of perspective on me because I didn't think things would ever get better, but they did. Not only did they get better, but I was the happiest I've been in the longest time. The simple things in life brightened my days again, and all the negative, self-doubting thoughts that I had escaped my head, which in turn gave my brain a clear and open-minded understanding of what I wanted to do the following year. I realized after all that pain or sadness, God had a way of getting me to where I am at. Faith runs huge in my life and family, so the only thing getting me through most days was the Lord, but now I can look back and thank Him for being there with me through all of it, just to make me stronger in the end. Florida is like a second home to me, for I grew up almost every year of my life coming to Jupiter. I come from Buffalo, New York, so clearly the Sunshine State had always been a favorite of mine. Nothing sounds more up my alley than going to school in the warmth of palm trees surrounding my every move. One major plus I had with going to school in Connecticut for a few years was definitely the distance. I was over 7 hours away from home, and I loved being far, so I know I can handle any distance and like it. I know it may be tough transferring to a whole new campus and state as a junior, but I cannot be more excited to see what God has in store for me. Life takes so many turns unexpectedly, but honestly, what kind of a life would it be if there aren't bumps along the road to your final success?